Dawg. Thanks so much for joining us with the victory vibes rolling, Hanford. How are you doing during the game yesterday?
I tell you what, Gab, I am feeling pretty good today. Because there's no way in hell I thought we were going to win that football game. I mean, I just didn't think it was going to happen. I mean, we went down and the way things were going, and normally I have a pretty good feel on a football game, but Gab, I'm beginning to think that maybe this just may be our year because just for instance, and again, you and I, look at this. They drop a touchdown pass, a ball that just hit them right in the hands. And then look at toward the end of the game, I know we talked about it a little bit, the Hail Mary pass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Hail Mary pass. There is a guy who is laying on his back in the end zone, and he have the ball in his hand. All he's got to do is pull it in and catch the ball, and they win the game. So
there was some divine intervention of some kind.
Gab,
in that game,
I agree with
there?
you. I agree with you. We never get those breaks. I mean, we never get those breaks. And when you look at it this year, we're starting to get those breaks because I think we've won, I want to say, 4 games this year, like in the final.
5.
Has it been 5?
5 in the final, like 2 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, we've won 5 games like that. I mean, maybe this is our year. I don't know, but it's just starting to line up right now, and I like it. I mean, I just like it. I like to have this feeling after a ball games and after a ball game. And then look at this. Look at all the injuries. Look at all the injuries we have on this football team, and Stefanski is right. It's been the next man up, and I guess that's why they spend all this time trying to get these guys ready to be able to step in. I mean, look at the offensive line. 2 tackles are out. I mean, Joe Petonio went down yesterday. I mean, something to do with his back. Hopefully that's not serious. Hopefully he'll be back and he'll be ready to play this week. But that's another big injury. And we're not even going to talk about Chubbs. We're not going to talk about the 4 quarterbacks that we've had to use this year. But I'm telling you, this team, I don't care. Whoever goes down, the guy that step in, the next man up, have been doing a phenomenal job, and I like it.
What do you attribute that to? Is it the Stefanski effect, or is this possibly the Joe Flacco effect, or both?
I think it's both, and I think also what we have to do is we have to give Stefanski a lot of credit because, Gab, a lot of people don't know behind the scenes and how he have his other coaches working. Say, for instance, the second and third string guys, just in case they have to step in to make sure they're ready to play, and you could tell that it's working because when those guys step in there and they fill in, they're doing a great job. And like James Hudson, for instance, on that offensive line, Kristen on that offensive line, just to name a few guys, Nick Harris, for instance, that's just go in and fill in at the center row. I mean, can't beat it. Can't beat it. But again, I like it.
Let's do our handshake. Get into my shot. Ready?
You think you remember?
Oh, me? Okay,
yeah.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit the rock. Don't forget the elbow. Up top.
All
right. Yeah. All right, we got to take our first break. We'll be back with more Hanford Dixon Show right after this. Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz with the Top Dog, and we are joined by Hall of Famer Joe DeLamielleure is with us. And thank you for joining us virtually, and your wife who so graciously set this up for us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a long time. Hanford and I go way back. I think 81 was your rookie year, right, Hanford?
That is correct, Joe. And don't you forget this now when you start talking about Joe and all his accolades. 8 times All-Pro, 6 Pro Bowls. And you know how hard it is to get those numbers, Gabby?
Listen, not personally, but I can imagine.
Really tough. But this guy here is just awesome off the chain when you're talking about offensive linemen, talking about the guards. Joe D, my man, I have a couple of questions for you. I wanted to know right off the bat, obviously your days in Buffalo, Gab, he blocked for O.J. Simpson, the great O.J. Simpson. You guys were named what, the Electric Company? How did that name come about on that offensive line?
it's pretty interesting is that the PR guy, it was my rookie year, and we had a lot of young guys. Reggie McKenzie was 2 years in. We and Paul Seymour and I, but three of us were from Detroit: Reggie McKenzie, Paul Seymour, and myself. And but the PR guy, Bud Thalman, his name was. He's saying we got to think of a nickname. You know how it gets when you start doing okay. Somebody's got to put a nickname on somebody, and the PR guy had a little son who was watching cartoons all the time called the Electric Company. So the kid was like 8 years old. He goes, "Hey, Dad, I got the idea. Call them the Electric Company because they turn loose the juice." And that's how it happened. Pretty simple. An 8-year-old kid came up with that.
That is cool. You were Offensive Lineman of the Year at one point. This is awesome. You know, speaking of O-line, the Browns O-line is kind of exhausted, if you will. What are your thoughts? Have you watched much Browns? Are you up to date on our scenario and maybe some of your insight on what's the key to longevity at that position?
I know Scott Peters, too, is the assistant line coach. Is a dang good coach.
Oh.
Those guys are, and actually I do some stuff with them. And they're good, but they're struggling. But, you know, they had a lot of injuries, and that's the problem. It's hard to hold the unit together. What was amazing about the Electric Company, all 5 guys played 5 straight years with no injury, really. And I've never had a surgery, you know, for nothing. I never missed a game, never missed a practice, so I'm blessed.
Wow.
But I think the guys are so big now, it's hard to keep them healthy for the whole year.
Yeah, is it the body changes that have gone on? Now they're just so big that it's harder to take care of?
I remember my last year in Buffalo or Cleveland, Marty said, "You got to get bigger." I go, "Marty Schottenheimer, you got to get bigger." You know, I said, "Marty, I'm playing pretty good." Yeah. Well, we're going for size. I said, "Marty, there's either been a leap in evolution or these guys are injecting something because nobody goes from 250 or 260
right.
to 280. So, you know, I just never did that. I never taken any, you know, there's a lot of growth hormones and all that going around in the 80s. I never did that. So maybe that could have been a factor.
Well, yeah, and that was one thing I was going to ask you about the size of these players, because I think, Jody, when you played, what were you, 6'3", like 255 or somewhere around there? And
right there. And that's what I was.
Yeah, and you look at some of these guys today, I mean, they're way over 300 pounds, and that is crazy. What the hell are they eating?
I don't know. People. I have no idea how big. They're huge, and you know, some of them can run, but some of them can't. I watch football all the time, and I'm a huge Detroit Lion fan, Cleveland Brown fan, and Buffalo Bill fan. And my hope this year is the Browns or the Bills play the Lions for the Super Bowl, because that would be something. Really, the Browns and the Bills, if they got, or Browns and Lions got in, that'd be something. Neither team have been in since the start of the Super Bowl. And, you know, I'm a big football fan. When Hanford came in the league, I know it's 1981 because I was there in 80. That was my first year.
Right.
Dang, this guy, he's good. I thought Hanford could always, and when Frank came, I said, when I was playing, I go, man, these guys should be you should be man all the way. And then actually doing that. Didn't you end up doing that, man?
Yeah. We pretty much locked down one side of the field. Yes, we did.
Yep. Marty, when he got the head job, that's when he changed it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. You're exactly
all of a sudden, he becomes a great coach. But he became a great coach because it's pretty obvious that they're throwing the ball. And they only throw Hanford, if they threw it 30 times, that'd be a lot, right?
That's correct.
In your era?
Yeah, that's
if
correct.
He played today. I don't know how many interceptions you have, 20, 25, something like that.
I know it. That's crazy.
You know how many balls you would get? I mean, opportunity. And Hanford and Minifield, they were an unbelievable tandem because I came from a different team, and you kind of appreciate that. And I was always into football, listening to scouting reports. And, you know, when you guys get drafted, Hanford, I'm sure you'll agree with this, the first-round pick, that guy's got a lot of eyes on him. I mean, from players, and a lot of them don't make it because they don't have the confidence of their teammates. When Hanford came in, didn't matter if you liked him, didn't like him, whatever he is, everybody said, man, that guy's going to help our team. And he did. For how many years did you get, Hanford? 12?
9 years, Joe.
He didn't lack any confidence. No.
9 years. See, that's why I rub it in on her. I have to let her know that. See, she's too young. She don't understand us, Joe. You know.
No.
But
Hanford was on that edge. What did you play till 93?
No, to 90.
90. Oh man, so you really got screwed.
Yeah.
The pre-93 guys got screwed.
Yeah, I
because
know.
we our pensions are ridiculous
Yeah.
compared to what they're making now.
Right.
And these are the guys who built the league. I mean, we were too, but Hanford and Minifield, that group in the 90s, that's what made professional football. That's when it really became the, $1,000 buy a Super Bowl ticket. And then it went to 2,000 to get a ticket to scalp it. But it's off these guys' backs. So I just hope the NFL, when they get a new contract, take in consideration the guys who built the league.
You know what Jody, you know what I always do though, and I agree with you because I realize there was a lot of guys before me, and those guys are the ones that made the league as far as I'm concerned, and I always give those guys that respect. I don't care where I see them at or whatever, I go up to them, and you understand what I'm saying? I let them know how much I appreciate them.
Yep. I grew up in Detroit, Hanford. My dad had a bar, and I'm the ninth of 10 kids. So every year we get tickets to the Lions Super Bowl game, 6 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And, we go watch the Lions, man. You look at those guys. Have you heard of Dick Night Train Lane?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He was my idol. Like they call him Night Train because he necktie tackle you. So they banned that. But he would knock guys out. So I was glad it wasn't there when you were playing because you probably would have really killed somebody.
Right.
but those guys it was a different game. But I grew up, my whole life was football. We didn't go anywhere. My family, we had 10 kids, one bathroom, no lock. We walked to school. I'm the ninth of 10.
Wow.
Man, I just worship football. And we used to go watch the Browns play the Lions. And Jim Brown really never did well against the Lions for whatever reason. He didn't, but the respect for the players and like how great those guys are, I may have more than anybody because I've been watching it since I was born in 1951. I was going to games in 56.
That's crazy.
Did
any of your siblings play football also?
Pardon?
How many of your siblings also played football?
Two or three. They didn't play. Back then it was different. The girls, I'm the last of five boys, 5 girls. I'm the baby boy. I had a baby sister, younger sister. And so we all played sports, but no pads. Everybody said, "Who's the toughest guy you ever played against? Joe Green?" I go, "No, my brother Tom. We beat the hell out of him. We had no helmets, no anything. They pounded me." So it wasn't like, "Hey, take care of him. He's my little brother." They never let me on their team, Hanford. Never. I was always opposed. He's on the opposite team. They beat the heck out of me.
Jody,
they made my life.
Jody, was that why it was so important for you? Obviously, you went to Michigan State to graduate and get your degree because I think you were the first in your family to do it. Correct?
Yeah. My dad went to 3rd grade. And my mother went to 8th grade, and we had this bar. It was open 7 in the morning, 2:30 at night. So I'm in kindergarten. Supposed to be going to kindergarten. I go, "Hey, Dad, can I go to kindergarten?" Because none of the kids went. And he goes, "For what?" I said, I just want to go to kindergarten. A lot of kids are going. The truth is, my wife lived around the block and she was in kindergarten. I always liked her even back then. So I said, but my dad goes, "Kindergarten, that's for wusses. What are you going to do? Make an apple pie when you're 18? He said, "You come up to the barn." I had to go up to the barn and clean it.
When did you get a chance to meet your wife then? Did you go to kindergarten?
We walked to school since 1st grade.
Oh,
you're going to make Gabby cry.
I would never even ask her out.
Shoot.
Through high school, we were just best friends. I was like Ted Gack on Seinfeld, if you ever watched that.
Yeah.
Just loved the girl, but never asked it. We'd go to show and stuff. "Is this a date?" I don't know. Then I'd say, "I don't know." So my sophomore year in college, I go, "God, I got to call her up and get a real date." So I call her up and go, "Jerry, you want to go to see the Poseidon Adventure?" She goes, "Yeah." "Is this a date?" I go, "Yeah." Then she goes, "I'll go then. If it's not a date, I'm not going." So that was our date, and that was my sophomore year. We got married my junior year, and her dad said, "What about children?" Because she's one of 8. I go, "Oh, we're not going to have any children for 5 years." Smith is her last. Are you? Hanford met my father-in-law.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
He said, who's going to control that? I said, oh, you don't have to have kids just because you're married. They had like 3 in 1 year. So anyhow, 5 months later, I mean, we're at Michigan State. Jerry goes, you're not going to believe it, I'm pregnant. I go, oh my God, I'm a senior in college. I call her dad and I go, hey, you're going to be a grandpa.
Right.
Said, where in the hell did that 5 years go?
That is
But it
funny.
worked out. It worked out.
Joe, thank you. This is so entertaining. Do you have any more time? Because we're supposed to take a break, but I know you're on a crunch today.
We'll take a we'll take a quick break.
I'm not on a crunch.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Then we'll take a break and we'll be right back with you, Joe. Thanks so much for giving us your time.
Okay, you want something to drink, Hanford?
You know it, big dog.
Okay, I can't reach it through the screen, though. But anyhow, I'll be here, okay?
Okay, we'll be right back after this. Thank you. Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon Show. We are joined by Joe D. How entertaining is he? We were just getting into talking about his NFL career and, of course, some of your stories together, Hanford, and just a cherished story of him and his wife.
Before we go back to him and you ask that question you want to ask about, I'm telling you, Gabby, you don't know how good this guy. I mean, Joe D was the man. I mean, when they want to run, Joe D he can open those holes up. I'm telling you, I just can't tell you how good he was. But go ahead. I know you have a question.
His accolades speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell me one more time. Was it 6 Pro Bowls?
Yes, and he was All Pro 8 times.
Whew.
And then he was
Offensive
also
Lineman of the
voted
Year.
now. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He was also voted Offensive Lineman of the Year. I mean, and the cream of the crop is being voted into the National Football League Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
And you talking about well-deserved, this guy. Wow.
So cool, and just such a cool story, Joe. Thanks for even sharing your story of knowing your wife from the start of kindergarten, or you guys started in first grade walking to school. But what a cool story. You finally took her on the date sophomore year of college. And fast forward, you guys are still together. She helped him set up this Zoom call for us. So I just love you throwing that in there, too. I wanted to go back to your career a little bit, back from 80-81, getting to play with Hanford a little bit. Do you have any Hanford stories or just any great stories from that time on the Browns?
Well, I got traded to the Browns, and I really wasn't well accepted. I never felt by the Deacon and Jackson had a little group. So I was like kind of like the outsider coming in, taking one of their buddies, Henry Shepard's jobs. So
right.
Kind of a weird dynamic for me because when I was in Buffalo, I mean, we were all together all the time. It didn't matter. Traded, got in, whoever came, we welcomed them. So I always felt a little strange, but I always felt good because Cody Risen and Tom DeLeon, I played between those two guys. And then the defensive guys really accepted me. Dick Ambrose I played against, and Clay Matthews, and Elvis Franks, and Henry Shepard, or Henry Bradley. Those guys, they knew that, hey, I'm just out there trying to do the best I can to make the team better. I had no agenda at all other than stick it up Buffalo's butt because I didn't want to get traded, but I didn't like Chuck Knox. He's bringing in some guys who weren't the character guys that were losing. And so I just said, hey, look, I want to get traded. And he said, for what? You don't like me? I said, no, I don't respect you. So there I go, which is fine with me. I think he punished me. He thought he was punishing me, trading me to Cleveland, and because they really weren't that good. And then when we got there, Brian was MVP of the league, first 3,000-yard passer, 10 sacks. And when I went to Buffalo, OJ was the first 2,000-yard rusher. So I've had really great teammates, and I'm on 2 records that still I don't think will ever be broken. Maybe OJ's, but not in 14 games.
That's crazy.
And Brian had 4,000 yards in 14 games, but only 10 sacks. So I feel, but it's not me. It's the guys I played around, and my coach, Jim Ringo. He was the coach of the Green Bay Packers. He's the center for the Packers line, and he was the best coach you ever had. He was one of the real quiet guys, and I'm kind of quiet. I thought Frank, or
not Minifield,
Hanford.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big spokesman on that team. I don't think. Maybe I was. I was a jokester, but I wasn't. I never tried to run the show. I mean, everybody's got their agenda. Just be the best you can be, and that's why I respected those guys so much. Ron Bolton was before you, and Reggie Rucker and those guys. Those guys are really great players. They're just in a bad situation. They didn't have the right combination. Then when Sipe came, we did really well, and then when, of course, Bernie came, they did great. But you know more than anybody, Hanford. You got to have a solid unit. Those defensive backs were great.
Yes,
and that's what it was. But the addition of Hanford made it better for everybody.
Joe,
we got Minifield the next year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Joe,
that guy.
Let me ask you a question. Going back to obviously Joe was the first round draft pick of the Buffalo Bills. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, did you fail your physical? Did that worry you a little bit? Tell us about that.
I got drafted by Buffalo. Now it's March. We got to go get our physicals. So my wife and I drive up to Buffalo through Canada, because that's how you go. And my wife goes, "Man, what are we going to do? How much money do you think you're going to get?" Because I'm going to sign my contract. And so Billy Joe Dupree, I don't know if you've heard of him. He played with me. He was the first pick of the Cowboys that year, 2 picks ahead of me. I said, "Well, Billy Joe got 25 to sign, and then 20, like 25, 30, 35, 40, like that." And I go, "What do you think I should ask for?" My wife says, "You're not as good as Billy, so don't ask for that." So your confidence is like, damn. So, but what happens is back then they give you a bonus, and then they'd sign you up for. Dupree only had 3 years. They said, "We're going to do one better for you, kid," because I told the guy Dupree's that bonus. He said, "We're going to give you 30 for a bonus. We're going to pay you 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. All I heard was 30 for the bonus. Didn't know anything about the. I was so happy. I was like holding my crotch. So Jerry's upstairs. So I go up to her. I go, "You ain't gonna believe it." She goes, "What?" I said, "Guess what I got? A celery." She was 15. I go, "No, higher. 20. No. 25. No, higher. You liar." I said, "No, 30. So that's our story. Our story's together. So we go, "Good God." She goes, "You got more than Billy. I can't believe it. You're not as good as him. What are you doing?" That was her whole thing. You weren't as good as
Can she be on the show next time? This is too great. This is too awesome of the story of you two and your career.
We had some great times, and I remember when I got traded there. Henry Shepard, do you remember him?
Yes, I remember Henry. Defense.
Henry Shepard. Jerry saw Henry Shepard and Bob Jackson walking around practice. And like before practice, she goes, "Which one's your coach?" I go, "Those are the guys. Those are the 2 guards." Oh my God! Holy! But that's just. But she's funny as heck.
Oh my goodness, Joe!
I'm just telling true stories. I'm not making this stuff up. But I think the best part of playing in Cleveland and Buffalo, but the Cleveland, the guys there were really good guys. We had a lot of laughs. I mean, Cody Rison and Jerry Sullivan, and Jerry Sullivan was the backup center to DeLeon. So DeLeon got hurt. So Sully never wanted to play. You know that. He just wanted to snap. Right? Did you know that? So they put me and him as roommates in Seattle. And they had Joe Nash was the nose guard for Seattle. Sully goes, "Damn, that guy's good. It's like 1 o'clock at night. I go to bed, Sully." He's looking out the window. He goes, "He's really great, isn't he?" I said, "Yeah, he's going to kick your ass tomorrow." So I got to get some sleep here. So, and he did. But those are the stories. That's what I miss most about football.
I know.
I loved Hanford and those guys.
I know. Because
they came in and you guys kind of took over the locker room.
Oh, it was so. We were characters. Oh, we were characters.
Yeah. Most white guys are quiet.
Right.
And black guys are, and all the white guys. But I grew up in Detroit, so I've always been around. Reggie McKenzie and I grew up together, and the bus was in Detroit too. The fullback for the.
I know you're talking about with the.
Jerome Bettis.
Jerome Bettis.
When I got in Hall of Fame, Hanford, I go back to Jerry's mom and dad. All of our family still lived right where we lived. My brother lived in the same house we lived in. Anyhow, they had a party, and one guy comes up. He goes, "Hey, dude, you're the first Hall of Famer from Detroit." I didn't know that. I was the first Hall of Fame player picked out of Detroit.
Right.
Detroit used to have 3 million. I go, "Yeah, man, I'm lucky. No surgeries." He says, No, more amazing than that is you're white. I love the locker room because there's a pecking order in life, and there's a pecking order in that locker room. And if you don't get it, it's hard to survive in there, isn't it, Hanford?
Oh,
If you have thin skin, you can't
you
take it
can't.
because
It's
you
tough.
just they'll crush you. I remember I told Cody because I used to go work out real hard. Hanford, I don't know if you. I work out real hard, like before and after practice. So I just wanted to bust his chops. So I go in early. I know I get in like at 7:15 because we just live by this Berea there. So Cody comes in. He didn't say much. And after we go, how come you come in so early? I said, Cody, I shower before I go practice. Very important to me. And I said, and I don't like showering after practice because it's so crowded.
Oh my God!
He goes, damn, maybe I should know. Don't you?
Right. Let me ask you this: a guy that I think meant a lot to you and to your career. I think I've heard you talk about him. Lou Saban, is that a name that ring a bell? Yeah. Tell us about that.
I played in the Senior Bowl and I weighed 243. And I was 6'3", and all the guys, even back then, they're all pretty, bigger than me, like 260, 265. Anyhow, they weighed me, and then Coach Ringo was my line coach, and he's in the Hall of Fame. But I did real well. They put me against Wally Chambers. I'm a guard, and they put me against him. I never played tackle in my life, but I was on the North team. They said, we're putting you at tackle today. I go, what? And man, I was nervous. He said, we just want to see how tough you are, because Wally Chambers was the fourth round of the Bears, fourth pick in the draft. I was kind of nervous, but I was relieved because I knew Wally my whole life, and I could always kick his ass. But so, not that he wasn't a great football player, I just kind of got in his head, and so he never did all the crazy things, and I did really good, and I got drafted in the first round. I was the 26th pick. But I always say this: God's had His hand on my whole life. It puts me in the right place, right time. I think the worst thing I could do is get traded to Cleveland. It ended up being one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And teammates, and Hanford, once you go through that thing, once you're in that brotherhood, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And you stop by and help anybody you can.
Yeah.
That's how I always felt about the league. God's blessed us.
And you're right. God is good, isn't He?
Yes, He is.
Yeah.
Joe D, make sure you write a book about all this. I think that you need to write a book.
You want to know something? Hanford's in my book.
Yeah.
I've kept a daily diary since 1982.
Did you?
81, actually 81, because I was bored sitting in those meetings, Hanford. So I wrote, it was 1982, I can tell you the date, October 17th, 1982. I wrote on my first page, it's like those little notebooks.
Yeah.
From this moment on, I'm going to write about my meetings in the NFL and my comings and goings. I've never missed a day. I got it today. I will write every day. Hanford will be on my thing. But I do that because it helps my memory.
Sure.
Because not then. I didn't know that at that time, but it refreshes your mind, like all the stuff you can do. I can remember Hanford like yesterday. He wore his high white socks.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, number 29.
That's
I remember.
right.
I know that. I remember. You look at these kids, but the thing is, you look at the guys who like really stick out. We had some real stick out players there. You and Minifield and Brian Sipe and the Pruitts. Those were great. Ozzie. Those were great players.
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to say. I can't end this without telling you. I told him, we've had Ozzie on this show, and I told him that you were coming on, and he told me if I don't tell you hi, he's going to kill me. So I'm telling you, telling you he said hi.
He's the nicest guy in the world. I couldn't believe he could be a general manager.
I know.
Those guys are usually real assholes.
Right.
Ozzie, he's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And were you there when Alvin was there, or Kelvin Hill?
Yes.
Yeah, Kelvin and I became real good friends. And that guy's a star. You get him on your show, he can go on.
We'll have to have you back and Calvin on, and we really appreciate your time. We're running out.
Thank you.
We're running out of time here. We got to take another break. But Joe D, it was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Such
have
a pleasure.
Christmas.
Joe D, thank you, and happy holidays, okay?
Yes.
Okay, have a good holiday. You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What an awesome time. We'll be back right after this with more Hanford Dixon Show. Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon Show. What a pleasure it was to have Joe D on, another entertaining character. I feel like you have the coolest contacts list to peel from.
It was really nice to have him on, and again, I hate to keep talking about him and all this Joe D was the man. I mean, as far as the offensive line, I mean, and wasn't a very big guy as far as the numbers, the way the guys are today. I mean, he was, like I said, 6'3", about 255, and that was soaking wet.
Yeah.
And again, you talk about some of these guys, like, for instance, DeJuan Jones on our offensive line. You're talking about a guy 6'7", maybe 300 and north of 300 pounds, probably 330, somewhere around there. And but he's got some stories that he can tell, and I didn't know where he was going to go with some of those stories. I was sitting over here a little scared because in our locker room, Frank and I, we were crazy. I mean, we were just crazy. We were the guys
and
that.
You're the one always calling me crazy.
Well, you got to understand.
Takes one to know one, huh?
That's where Jody. Did you hear him when he said, "If you wasn't strong, we'll eat you alive" in that locker room?
Yeah.
And it was just like that. But it was like, I agree with you. It was really good having him on.
You got some thick skin
Yes.
from dealing with all that locker room stuff. I'm sure I don't even want to know, to be honest.
No, you don't want to know. So let's just leave it at that.
You turned out okay, though.
You don't want to know, though.
One of my favorite people, though, so we're all good now. We are going to get to our next segment here, Hanford. We've got Todd in from Montrose Auto Group, in for JT, and we're putting him at the big desk today. Todd, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's awesome.
Did you go to the game yesterday?
I did.
Yes.
I did.
So you were there. Honestly, not bad weather. I didn't
Maybe
think.
where you were sitting.
Oh, really? No, it was fine
it was
to me.
okay. It was drizzling and a little cold, but it's been worse.
No kidding. I felt like it drizzled for 2 minutes, and then I was fine. Hanford, he never sits outside because he's too bougie for that.
No, I'm.
He's too important.
You guys didn't see it though. I came at halftime. I was on the field because what I had to do was we had a contest or something when we
Okay.
had it was the Dixon team and then the Metcalf team, and we had to throw them a pass. They kick a field goal, and they had to tumble a big tire, and whoever did it first won the thing. And my team was ahead because there was a girl and a guy, and on each team. And then the girl went straight through it on my team really fast, and she kicked the field goal on the first try. And so we, the guy, he came through, my guy, all he had to do, he kicked the field goal, and we win. And he must have kicked that thing about 15 times before Metcalf's team caught up with us, and he still didn't kick it through. And his girlfriend kicked it through the first time. So I'm like, so going to tell you, Team Metcalf won. Not Team Dixon. So I was pretty upset because
That's a win for the ladies, though. You heard that. First try, she got it. Nailed it.
well, yeah, but there was the ladies on each team, so that's the way it was. So,
All right. In any case, we've got Todd here. And what was your fan reaction of the game? I didn't really think the weather was too crazy, considering the things that we've seen here in Cleveland, Ohio. But how were your heart palpitations and all of that?
Oh, it's crazy. That last play of the game was unbelievable. I mean, how could you not get a palpitation or two from that?
Yeah.
I know. Did you think he caught it? I mean,
no, we got it. We intercepted it. I won't say it out loud to anybody else what I really think. But no, it was amazing. It was fantastic. The whole game was good. I think Joe Flacco again had an amazing day. What did he throw for over 200 yards just in the fourth quarter alone?
Yeah.
I think. Wow.
212 yards for Flacco in the fourth quarter, and that's the first quarterback in 45 years to do that in any quarter throw for that many yards.
It's amazing.
Pretty insane.
But Todd, I got to say this. Obviously, we talked about the 300 yards that he ended over 300 yards that he ended up with. Last week was the first time this season that we've thrown for over 300 yards, and obviously he's done it back to back in 2 games. And he had 3 interceptions, but that's all right. We'll take that. But you could say what you want to say. On that Hail Mary, I thought that he had caught the damn thing. He had it in his hands, and I was just so happy that you're right, that he kicked it up in the air, and we were able to pick that thing and get the interception.
Yeah, so it was wild. It was a wild play. I don't know that I would, if I would intercept that ball, I don't know if I would have kneeled down right there. I think he had a clear line all the way to the end zone.
Yeah.
I think I would have taken it all the way, but he must have been tired. No, it was an awesome game. You know, the crazy thing is Flacco's accuracy is getting better and better every game. That throw to Amari Cooper was just pinpoint. I mean, it was amazing. It was awesome.
His timing and accuracy is a thing of beauty. I've got the Flacco fever.
Yeah, you know what? He's a gunslinger. He's a gunslinger, and here's my question to you. I didn't think we were going to win that game. When we were down 17-7, I didn't think we were going to win that game because it was there were some key plays in that game, like for instance, when they went for it on 4th down and we stopped Justin Fields. Remember, he tried to run around the right side and we stopped him short. I thought that was a key play. Mitchell, the defensive back, the rookie defensive back, made the big play. And there were some plays in that ball game, but I don't care who is in the ball game. It just seemed like this football team will step up and make a play. Big Dog, tell us about Montrose Auto Group. Tell us what's going on over there. What do you guys have going?
Amazing. We're super busy. It's been fantastic. All of our locations have a little bit of something going on right now, but you look at like the Ram trucks, for instance. I mean, we've got almost $10,000 off Ram trucks right now.
Wow.
It's wild. It's a good place to buy a car right now. Plus, we're a huge backer of the veteran community.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got lots of stuff going on for veterans as well.
Cool.
Let me ask you this. I hear all the time at some of these stores, they sign and drive. Or you guys have any of those sign and drive going on?
At every single one of our locations.
Oh.
We do have sign and drive opportunities for customers. Different vehicles. Sometimes they're specific vehicles, but yeah, for sure.
Kia is hot right now, isn't it?
The Kia is very hot. You can't even hardly keep them on the lot. So yeah, if you get a chance, go check one out. It's amazing.
Tell us about your locations. Where are your locations? Where are you guys located?
Oh, we're all over Northern Ohio. We're everywhere from the Lorain area where our Kia store's at, out to Ashtabula County where you can find our Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram store, our Chevy store. We have stores over in Pennsylvania as well as Akron and west side of Cleveland.
Wow.
You have to promise Gab and I this. You won't tell JT that we let you sit behind the desk.
There's a 100% chance he's going to hear this before I get home.
That's
for
awesome.
Sure. For sure.
Oh, man. He's going to come in fiery next week. Thank you, Todd, so much for your time. Be sure to check out Montrose Auto Group, and we'll see you next time. Or maybe not. I don't know. JT, you might have to fill in for JT more often. Let's be honest.
Sounds good to
me. Hey, you guys stop it over there.
All right. We've got to take a break. We'll be back with more Hanford Dixon Show right after this. Welcome back to the Hanford Dixon Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside the Top Dog. We're continuing to break down a little bit of this Browns win over the Bears. Flacco, as you mentioned earlier, over 300 yards, 374 yards.
Wow.
He did have those 3 interceptions, but 2 touchdowns for him. And you really got to feel confident with him in command, all in all.
Yeah, he's a gunslinger. I mean, I don't think those interceptions faze him at all. I mean, he'll just throw them and throw them and throw them. He's just like a gunslinger. He's going to keep ripping it, let it rip, let it rip, let it rip. And then all of a sudden he'll surprise you with just a pass that's right on the money. And you know what I'm talking about. Now I'm talking about the one he threw to Cooper.
Okay.
Did you see that? I mean, that was just an awesome pass where Cooper ran it in for the touchdown. And then kept another beautiful pass he threw. It was a 57-yarder to Goodwin. I mean, that was just an outstanding. Is that your phone going off? Don't you be
blaming me, man. I don't understand you and your little Google phone that you don't know how to put on silent.
But you are right. I like this Flacco. I mean, I really like him.
And I was thinking you went the Cooper route, but what about, has he completely unlocked Njoku? 10 catches for him, 104 yards. He had that touchdown. And then he had 8 catches, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. And you mentioned Cooper. He was also over 100 yards receiving.
I'm glad you mentioned Njoku. I mean, David has just been everything and then some. And I'm just so happy we made the investment in him and given him that new contract because he is deserving of every penny. And I've said it all the time. I mean, he's just a matchup nightmare for the defense because you can't put a linebacker on him. They can't cover him. Safety really can't cover him. And he's too big for a corner to cover him. And this guy, when he catches the ball, I mean, I think when you look at it, if we ran the numbers, and I'm sure I'll find out the numbers, or you can find out the numbers probably next time we talk, I guarantee you on yards after catch, he's got to be up there pretty high, ranked pretty high in the league because when he gets that ball, he knows what to do with it. I mean, he just runs. And defensive backs don't want to tackle him. You could see that yesterday. but he made the one catch, the touchdown pass in the end zone was just outstanding. How he just plucked that ball
right in front of him.
right out of the air. But you're right, David Njoku right now, and I think there's a chemistry that's developing right now between him and Joe Flacco.
How about on defense? Obviously on the road, not as strong typically as we are at home. What are we going to need from them? And then also really quick, fans were a little upset with our defensive backs here and there on Twitter about, celebrating every incompletion, even when we were down by 10. Are you kind of old school about that, or do you like to have the swagger every time?
I like the swagger because when I played, I was always one that talked a lot and the celebration and all that. I know they probably hit on Greg Newsome a lot because he's doing the dance regardless of what's.
Can you dance?
Were
you a dancer out there, or are you just a smack talker?
You know I could dance, girl. You know I could dance. But you're right with this defense, and I'll hit on this really, really quick. They have to learn how to travel. I mean, they have to learn how to travel. It's just not good enough to play. You can't just play well at home. I mean, they're awesome at home, but when they go on the road, they look like a total different defense. You know who I have to give a lot of credit to yesterday, too? A couple of those guys on that defensive line, Dalvin Tomlinson, and then also Harris. Those two guys were making plays all over the field yesterday. But, Gab, we have to figure out how to travel because this is not going to be an easy game that we have coming up.
And Miles hasn't had a sack in 3 games, so we definitely got to – I know he's getting the holding and whatnot, but it'd be nice to hear his name.
I just don't think he's healthy right now. Mm-hmm. I think he's getting healthy, but I don't think he's healthy because one thing about Miles, he's somebody that we can count on, and I think he's going to be there when we really need him.
Alrighty, well, we got to take our last break of the show. Thanks for watching the Hanford Dixon Show. We'll be back after this. Thanks for watching the Hanford Dixon Show. We're here breaking down the AFC North. How about? What are your thoughts on this? Pittsburgh losing. The Bengals with Jake Browning really came alive. They got a very convincing win. Who else? Ravens beat.
Yeah, the AFC North, everybody in the AFC North, you're exactly right, won except the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're calling for Mike Tomlin's head, which I think is just absolutely crazy. But Baltimore won, beat Jacksonville, and then Cincinnati, who we thought is dead, all of a sudden they're alive right now. So that AFC North with the 3 teams is looking pretty good right now.
All right, and we got to look ahead to the Houston Texans, Cleveland, opening as 2-point underdogs at Texans. Are you surprised our 9-5 Browns are actually the underdogs here?
No, I'm not, because I think the way they're looking at it, if we were playing them at home, then that would be a different story. But for whatever reason, we don't play well on the road, and we're not winning games on the road. So, but I'm going to go against that. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. I think right now we're on a roll, and regardless of, I think we're going to figure it out how to play on the road. I think the defense is going to travel this week. So pick the Browns.
Take that money line, Browns, in the Tipico Sportsbook app. And also, real quick, give us an anytime touchdown score for the Browns.
Ooh. I am going to say 37-34 with the Browns winning.
Anytime touchdown score.
Oh!
This guy he's ready to go home. First, you can't turn your phone on silent. Now you've just tuned me out.
I know. You give me that score. Come on, give it to me.
I'm crying tears.
Give me the score.
Let's go, David Njoku. Okay, we're so out of time. It's unbelievable. Thank you to our producer, Michael Bohm, for going to make a masterpiece out of this.
Hey, you have to thank Joe D again.
And Joe D, what a treasure. We got to have him back on. Thank you so much for watching the Hanford Dixon Show. We'll see you next week. And